let's begin by making prostrations, and then we'll do some introductory prayers. Hey, Ted. Oh, here we go with Suma.
Okay.
Suma, go lie down. Shh. Okay, so why don't we get started with some introductory prayers. Welcome to the Chenrezig Tibetan Buddhist Center live Zoom featuring Namgyal Khensur Geshe Lobsang Tenzin, known by many, many names. We're very fortunate to have Rinpoche here with us. Today, Rinpoche is going to give a talk on the desire to definitely emerge, renunciation, and how karma plays a role in generation of renunciation. So before we get started, let's begin with the Heart Sutra. The Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge. Thus have I heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Prajnaparamita, saw in this way. He saw the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita? Addressed in this way, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita, see in this way. Seeing the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form is no other than emptiness. The same way feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics, there is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no I dhatu, up to no mind dhatu, no dhatu of karmas, no mind consciousness dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance, up to old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of Prajnaparamita. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the 3 times by means of Prajnaparamita fully awaken to unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as truth, since there is no deception. The Prajnaparamita mantra is said in this way: Teata om gate gate paragate parasangati bodhisoha. Thus, Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound Prajnaparamita. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound Prajnaparamita just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, that whole assembly in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Ngala jupe nejo dampa ne nguje dojo ngayi do dojen ruba bola ma yi bujin zi nezo ngandro zola ya de lo zamara da jana razman Aga samara dajana rasamara yamedi ata om gate gate parasangate vadiso baba ganjo sanji gaye dembe doje Doji, Doji, Shiva, Doji, Dragi, Baji, Medum, Bijodan, Jishatin, Korizo, Girin, Donjaji, Doji, Wada, Medo, Nube, Jindan, De Wada, Dumba, Dunjim, Bunzon, Zunju, Dashi, De Jan, Denda, De Leo. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. Imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. Holy Lamas high, wrap the sky of your Dharma bodies in massive clouds of knowledge and love. Let them pour upon the earth of your disciples as we are ready, a shower of rain, the teachings deep and I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Idam Guru Rana Mandala Gamni Ratayami. Chudan Joye Janam La Yanju Badu Dani Yazu Chindagi Chinye Jibe Zonanje Rola Benjir Zanye Jubaju. Jadan Joye Janam La Yanju Badu Dani Yazu Chindagi Chinye Jibe Zonanje Rola Benjir Zanye Jubaju. Jadan Joye Janam La Yanju Badu Dani Yazu Chindagi Chinye Jibe Zonanje Rola Benjir Zanye Jubaju. Okay, so today Rinpoche has agreed, because of at the request of one of the students, to give a talk on renunciations. What is the meaning of renunciation? So hold on one second. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Somebody texted that the Zoom link wasn't live. Let me just make sure. Hey, Ted, are you there by chance? Just want to make sure it's live and people can see it. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's live. I think it's on the old Zoom link from last week too, though. But it is live.
Okay. From Kate to all panelists, it isn't working. Okay, I think it's because of the router. Hold on. I think we lose our link when we close the store. Does that seem to have made it better? Hey, Kate. Hold on, just give us one moment. I just want to make sure what it looks like. Lori's getting on right now. Okay, I didn't see what it said. It's working fine. Okay, all right. Scott says it's working fine. Okay. All right, Yeah, I hear when you come through breaking up, Ted, so I just hope that's not what ours sounds like. We're going to have to go to the router room from now on. Okay. All right. So today Rinpoche has agreed because of one of the students' requests to talk about renunciation. Hopefully everybody got to see that wonderful initiation last week. There is a link that we'll figure out how to get to everybody so that you can see that initiation. It was recorded. Normally they aren't, but the three principal paths and the initiation are both on film, and it was done very beautifully. So people will be able to see that. Maybe we can put it on a website. I'm not really sure, but we'll talk about how people can get that. I know some people have seen it, so it was very wonderful. So today, Rinpoche is going to talk about renunciation and how it relates to karma. Nejong nan le judre, then the langsang, the nejong, the garshen, jutsen garre. Nansang. That's it. See it. Okay. So when we look at renunciation and we look at the reason for the generation of it and how to generate it, and then how it's defined or what's qualified, what qualifies as the generation of renunciation, we look at Lama Tsongkhapa's three principal paths. Rinpoche just gave a talk on it, so it's very appropriate to look at those stanzas again. So the third stanzas of the three principal path says, without a pure thought, definitely to emerge from cyclic existence. So that's referring to renunciation. Without renunciation, there's no way to stop seeking pleasant effects in the ocean of cyclic existence. So without having this desire to emerge, you'll always be attached to that which, to all of the things of cyclic existence that are impure. And that attachment is what leads to more cyclic existence. So wishing to definitely emerge from cyclic existence is what is necessary in order to get rid of that attachment and grasping for the things of this life and of future lives, and allows one to abandon cyclic existence and the sufferings that are within, the three types of suffering, the suffering of change, and the pervasive compounded suffering. So it says, without a pure thought, definitely to emerge from cyclic existence, there is no way to stop seeking pleasant effects in the ocean of existence. Also, thirst for existence binds the embodied. Therefore, initially seek the thought definitely to emerge. So this grasping at the things of this life and of future lives are what bind us to this life and of future lives. So what allows us to emerge from that which causes cyclic existence is this desire to emerge, and then the path that you participate in order to emerge. So this desire to emerge is this renunciation, the desire to definitely get out of cyclic existence. And then it says, cultivating the thought, leisure and fortune are difficult and life is fleeting, reverses the emphasis on the appearances of this life. When one contemplates karma's inevitable effects and the sufferings of cyclic existence, emphasis on future lives is reversed. So here it's saying one needs to get rid of the grasping at the things of this life and the grasping at the things of future life. So we look at the scopes, the small scope, the medium, and the great scope. The small scope is focused on getting a better rebirth in one's future life. So we see the teachings that Buddha gave that are pathways. They're not real pathways, but they're causes that lead to freedom from the lower realms of cyclic existence. But this stanza is for someone who is not satisfied with that. So he or she has looked at the teachings shared in common with beings of small capacity and wished to emerge from the things of this life, and then looked at the teachings for beings of medium capacity, which allow one to wish to emerge from the things of future lives, even the higher realms of future lives, because they're plagued with at least the pervasive compounded suffering. So it's for that reason that one who analyzes cyclic existence and suffering and so forth recognizes that there is nowhere within cyclic existence that's somewhere one wishes to be, because they are all plagued with some sort of suffering. So it's that fact that allows one to want to definitely emerge. So here's that we currently have leisure and fortune. So, but we can't be attached to that because it's impermanent. When we look at the three reasons, there's a death meditation, death and impermanence meditation. And there's three roots and then reasons. And the first is that death is certain. It will definitely come. And then the second main point is that we don't know when it's going to come. And the third main point is that the only thing that can help is Dharma. So the first main point, we recognize that death will definitely come and nothing can stop it. Life is always being subtracted from and never added to, and we won't have time to practice Dharma. Then we recognize is that life on this planet where we live is not fixed. We don't know how long we're going to live. Other world systems, they have fixed lifespans. We do not. So we don't know how long we're going to live. And the causes for life are few and the causes for death are many. And this body is quite insignificant. This body is what eventually will kill us. This thing we're so attached to, if it doesn't breathe long enough, if it bleeds too much, or if it's impacted too much, or if it gets too old and frail, or some system shuts down, then we die, and we don't know when that's going to happen. And because of that, because it's so fleeting, we really don't have time. This body is so insignificant that we have to recognize the only thing that can help is the Dharma. Our friends can't help, our money can't help, and this body can't help. It's the only thing that will kill us. So we wish to definitely emerge knowing this from cyclic existence, because we know that this will be our future life as well if we haven't gotten rid of cyclic existence. And then the definition of renunciation, the Neijong Tseni. After meditating this way, if you do not generate even one moment admiration for the marvels of cyclic existence, and if there is always the thought to seek liberation, then at that time, one has generated the intention to definitely emerge from cyclic existence. So this is not saying that you have to get rid of all of your things and live in the woods, and then you have renunciation. You could still be attached to your woods. You have to be not attached to the things of this life and of future lives, and day and night only be thinking of getting out. So people say and think, oh, I have renunciation because I practice Buddhism every day. I meditate an hour a day, so I definitely have renunciation. But it's day and night. There isn't a moment that should pass. There isn't a moment that should happen where you think of something other than getting out of cyclic existence. And we see that in the embodiment next to me right now, the manifestation of renunciation. In a clear view, anyone who's been with Rinpoche for any period of time will know that that's true. Nene. Less so. Less so. Less so. Less so. So the way that karma and the results work, the dog is having a field day over here. The way that karma and results work is that karma has a particular degrees of power, and those degrees of power generate their degree of result. So when we look at the 10 non-virtuous activities, the 3 non-virtues of the body, killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, the 4 non-virtues of the speech, lying, divisive speech, harsh words, and gossip, and the 3 non-virtues of the mind, covetousness, harmful intent, and wrong view, we see that the execution of these misdeeds have varying degrees. The greatest degree of execution of a non-virtue leads to the hell realm rebirth. The medium degree to the hungry ghost. And the smallest degree to the animal realm. The greatest degree of virtue leads to the God's realm. A medium degree of virtue to the demigod's realm, and a small degree of virtue to the human realm. So we can see how these varying degrees of karma, if they are projected at cyclic existence, produce results within cyclic existence. And that's why it's important when we engage in virtuous activities to dedicate them. So it's very important to dedicate, because we don't want our greatest virtues to give rise to cyclic existence or to a God's realm where we will eventually we will have had a life of just ecstasy and goodness and wonderful things. And all of a sudden, all of our flowers will start to wilt and will start to smell. And those around us won't want to be around us because they won't want to see death. They don't want to see suffering. And then we plunge to the lower realms. So you can think that's a fairy tale, or you can maybe think that there's some degree of factuality there. And based on our lives, we can see that there's degrees of suffering and pain. So why wouldn't there be a greater degree of suffering, pain, and a greater degree of happiness than we can imagine in our little minds right now? So sometimes people are thrown off by these 6 realms of cyclic existence, but it's really a guideline on the greatest amount of suffering happens by the greatest misdeed. The medium amount of suffering happens by a medium misdeed. So we can look at that and we can figure out, what we believe in at that point. But Buddha stated that karma is definite and certain, and will give rise to an effect that is concordant with it as long as it has not been purified. So unless it's extinguished, it's going to be definite and give rise to a result concordant with it. So its result, if it's a result of killing, for instance, an action of killing, for instance, it would result in maybe being killed or a short life in the future. Good. So it doesn't matter whether we're speaking of the great vehicle or the Hinayana vehicle. All of this is true in terms of karma and its result, the certainty of it, the greatness, the small, medium, and great degrees of fruition. All of these are found in both the Hinayana and the Mahayana vehicles. And these teachings are all concordant with the pronouncements of Lord Buddha presented in both of those systems. So renunciation is presented in the Hinayana and the Mahayana vehicle. And as an aside, renunciation is necessary in order to produce bodhicitta. Renunciation becomes a cause for bodhicitta. And then we see in the 3 paths, we won't get into it, that it says, well, okay, great, you have renunciation. Well, that's not enough. You can't become a Buddha. Great, now you have bodhicitta and renunciation. That's not enough. You can't become a Buddha without the correct view of emptiness combined with all of that. So it's a beautiful text, and we haven't spent a lot of time over the years on it, but we've spent a lot of time on the information contained within it over the years. Nene. So now, once again, we'd like to comment on the terrible COVID-19 pandemic, and a way, and this wish that it could end, and the way that we could help to be part of the generation of that end would be to engage in the Tara mantra of Om Tare Ture Soha, and engage in the medicine Buddha mantra of Teata Om Bekenze Bekenze Maha Bekenze Ranzo Samogati Soha. So that'll be it for today. Maybe people have any questions. Yeah, I know people wanted to see the little dog. We'll get her in a minute. Hold on. I'm coming over to the thing to look at the questions.
Look what happened over there.
So look how big this dog's gotten. Huge, right? Yeah, that's Kala, everybody. Okay. May the Ki Chun Chun Tongu. Okay, so the Dan, the Mankan, the Leka Drogore, the Mankan, the May Shira Nagadu, Ropa Chegore, the Chikshena Shapu Chi Ni Sum Drongore, Konso. Then the Ming Hospice, the May Shigure Desa, May Dunda Chi Shigure, Shapu Kashe Shigure, and Konso the May Tegudu, then the Geshe Yapu Shegudu, then Konso Shegudu, and Kon de Leka Drogore, then Lapcha Yuribe. Rinpoche said he, in terms of any advice that he could give in terms of helping the dying, he would say, mantras are all I know, and I can't give you any other advice than that. How do we accomplish skillful means to help others before being omniscient? Yeah, you're always handicapped, unfortunately. You can get clairvoyance, but you will never be able to know completely how to help a being in the utmost way without omniscience. Let me ask Rinpoche. Namchen, Khensur Shena? Sheson. Shikalama. So at the time of death, if you can whisper mantras in their ear, if it's appropriate, you have to make sure, obviously, culturally with the family, but if at the time of death, you can whisper the mantra, Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha Tara, Droma Yakshu, and Medicine Buddha, Teata Om Bekense Bekense Maha Bekense Ranza Samagati Soha, in their ear, that can be of benefit. Rinpoche, then Namchen, Yakshu, Gangen Sina the Me Kanga Hembushu. Yene Natsu Nanchen Yomare. Yene then Tapke, Kandreje, Gangen Sina the Takepa, Take, Gangen Sina Natsu Namchen Yomare. Then the Jimbita. So the way that you can develop omniscience, because you don't have it, is to meditate on omniscience as if you have it. That's not saying act as if you have it, it's saying meditate on it as if you have it, and that becomes the concordant cause for its arisal. And it's very important to think about the mind that aspires to enlightenment, the desire to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. So this is how you would accomplish it. You would accomplish it by engaging in meditation that gives rise to omniscience, and by meditating on the mind that aspires to enlightenment. And then Rinpoche, the Ngushe Yuna, then the Kong Gari Pembudu, Natsu the Chikshena Yabu Shingamare, Gangisana Natsu Namchen Yomare, Yene Ngushe Yuna, Konso Pembudu. Less so. Then Ngushe Senchen Pembudu. Shanchu Semba Ngushe Yuna, Senchen Pembudu. Then Shanchu Semba, the Ngushe Yuna, the Senchen Mo Pembudu. Okay, so as the Bodhisattva progresses on the path, he or she develops levels of clairvoyance where, even though it's not omniscience, there are, and they are limited levels of knowing. The Bodhisattva is able to know more and more by engaging in the Bodhisattva path, by refining the understanding of emptiness through the path of accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, and no more learning. So those obstructions become removed slowly but surely. But without omniscience, you don't ultimately know what's best for a being, because you can't see all of their past lives. So we see the story of the monk, the older gentleman who wanted to become a monk, Shariputra, saying he didn't have the karma to do it. He went to go kill himself. The Buddha arrived, ordained him, and said that Shariputra didn't know he had the karma to do it because Shariputra was not a Buddha and had limited amounts of seeing. And Shariputra was an arhat at that point, and the the Kenyana vehicle. So your understanding and ability to help and be of benefit to others increases as your insight and realizations increase. But the only way you can completely be of benefit is to be a Buddha. If one cannot whisper in ear, can silent mantra help? It can also help at a distance. If by trust, passive family disagree, but dying person has agreed previously. Okay, Rinpoche, the Ari Chi, the Chishina, the Anjir Gu, the Ngadang, the Yabiomare, the Sansan, Gangisina, the Pabada Ama Chishina, the Nampa Yomare, the Nampa Mena, the Natsu, the Dana, Konso Longwangdu. The name Natsu, the Gonja, Konso Pembudue. Konso Anje, the Mala, the Natsu, the Sen Sanodan, Konso Pembudue. Molan Jana. Natsu Molan Jana. So it is slightly beneficial. Rinpoche is not saying it's as beneficial, but he's saying it is beneficial to silently do the mantra to yourself. But you never want to disturb the dying person. Here's something important. When someone has died, you don't know if chances are, if they're not realized, they passed right out of their body. But during the dying process, you really don't want to disturb them. So if you have attendants around them who don't agree with what you're doing, and that's going to cause anger and disturbance, it's not something that is positive to engage in, because at the time of death, during the transition to the bardo, it's a very delicate period. And any outside influences of negativity can really throw someone into a negative state. So be very careful with a body. That's all I'm saying. And make sure that you're not causing more trouble by having your own ego inserted in what you think that person needs in order for them to transition properly. But again, if they've requested it in the past, I understand the kind of difficulty in knowing what to do because they requested it, but the family doesn't want it. But just remember the importance of keeping peace around the body. So that's all. Then nga de segdu, then nga tsu de ru yana, then the Geshe Lharampa dutsu, then nga tsu de longan zinja yapi yomare, then kon pembo yomare, then bardo kali kabudu. Gangisina de kon de anje de golna zin longan yapi yomare, shiwa ke chembudu. Bardo de Geshe Lharampa. But at the time of death, at the corpse, if you can blow mantras or whisper mantras, it can be a benefit. And there's also, you've seen that if you blow mantra on a corpse in Medicine Buddha, I think 7 times, it automatically brings that being to the higher realm. So I would be willing to debate that the wind could bring the mantras to the corpse. That's me. Okay, Rinpoche said that's enough. So I think that's open 4. I only see 3. Let me see if I'm missing a question. 1. I only see 3, so that's what I can do. Answered. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate the continued support and continued ability I appreciate for me to translate and sit next to one of the greatest lamas who's ever lived. So let's do some dedications and then we'll conclude there. Fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. Imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. Dedicate whatever virtues I've collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang to shine forever. Send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. And dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness, all powerful Abbot Tenzin Gyatso. May you stay until samsara's end. Pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Stay healthy and stay away from people. Till we all have this vaccination or this thing's passed, we are weapons.